Lots of things going on, right?
And your point is.
I was not going to be. I don't know. Okay. Alrighty. So I don't know if we know if Dave's coming. I think Steve's out of town.
Dave's coming. I wrote you and said I wouldn't be here.
You are. It's not even a ghost. Shall we go ahead and start the
Yes.
just catch up? Okay, so the first item on the agenda is the first two items on the agenda. Laura's going to talk about it. This is just bringing up things that we've already talked about. It's just splitting out these two items separately. So I'll let Laura go ahead.
Yes. So
Before you get too carried away on it,
yes.
because you have already gone over all these items. Is there anyone that has any serious questions about them?
Mr. Chairman, does anybody?
Because
I just
don't
wanted her to read. Yeah, I just wanted her to
have there
read.
been a lot of changes to this plan since we talked last?
No.
Okay.
We should have already lost control of our
Really?
official statement. So yes. We would actually we will be selling the first series of bonds next Wednesday, bringing them to you. So you will take 3 actions next Wednesday night, and then the item number 2 is just to set the sale for the second issue. Nothing else has changed.
Take it account.
I got one.
Yeah. Sorry, you're
On the rating.
Yes.
What does that mean? I read that. Read that. Yeah.
We will not need to.
It says, you know.
Will not need to get an additional rating. Is that where you're reading?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Down at the very bottom.
Yes. We actually had a rating call on the 2014 A issue on Monday with Standard & Poor's, and we talked with them that we will not have to have 2 separate rating calls. So we pay for each rating call, so we're going to take advantage of 1 rating call for both issues. So they are perfectly aware, and we talked with them on Monday about the split, and they have all of the information for both issues, but we're just going to do 1 rating for both issues. We will touch base with them briefly the week before the next sale, just to make sure nothing catastrophic has happened. But they're taking both issues to their rating committee this week. So it saves us, yes. So it actually saves us money to do 1 rating call.
The whole deal. So are we okay? Is this a consent item or not?
It'll be under notes and bonds at the top.
Yeah.
Everybody okay? Chairman, Vice-Chairperson?
Take it.
And that's 1 and 2. Okay, can we move on to number 3?
Yeah, we already pretty much discussed that too.
So declaring surplus property. So Arcie was in the meeting with us when we talked about this. So she's the one who's this is a newer topic to her. And since Stephen's not here, does anybody have any questions on this item? It's kind of standard. Laura, is there anything you want to call out specifically?
I have one question about it.
We don't have time.
Can I get a hold of one of those tasers?
No, they are precluded from purchasing.
They actually don't. Yes, you are precluded from purchasing anything, and the tasers do not work, which is why we replaced them.
Do you want to
I choose.
I can fix them.
Let's give one to Pat and go get them,
I have
Pat.
one that works if you'd like to try it.
Let's try it on Pat.
Yeah.
What's each
We
one
can
of
do
those?
that.
I'd rather have a taser than a gun for a home.
I've actually got Zap before.
Really?
Okay, we gotta do that.
No, not an official. It's a test. Zap.
Sure. Is this a take for consent?
Somebody gonna recommend it?
Oh, sorry.
Could we?
Recommend it to that?
Am I the only one working here tonight?
Yeah, I could have just stayed home.
I would second it.
Big first night, so. Okay, charter ordinance modifying officials appointed to city admission. So this is, Gerry's has this one, and we asked Dave Martin to come and talk about this.
Yeah, I'm also going to defer. This is a cleanup item. Again, put the charter ordinance in parallel with the changes that we made to our city ordinance concerning the city administrator. Mr. Martin been working on some things and prepare. David, you ready to come up and answer any questions or
Can you just kind of
explain?
like summarize for us why there was a charter ordinance change and kind of just talk through? I know you gave us the memo, but just talk through.
Right. So the point is, state law historically designates what officials are appointed 2003, 2001, we shifted away from state ordinance by appointing a city administrator. You all have now passed ordinances where we hire by contract the city administrator. So we've got to get rid of the charter ordinance where we appoint the city administrator, because issues of changes in position, if that would happen to occur in the future, create conflicts under what the rights of the employee are if they're hired under contract versus being an appointed official. Makes sense.
Cleaning it up.
So cleaning it up.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Excuse myself. Thank you.
I recommend we take it together.
Thank you.
Awesome, thanks, Susie.
This has to go on because Mary's voting, so it will not be there.
All right, number 5, resolution accepting the Rotary plaque. Gerry.
And it's my, following a presentation by Mr. Reeves, and obviously to answer any questions, we decided the best course of action was for the city to formally accept the donation by the Rotary. That formalizes it, puts a little more meaning to the significant donation that the Rotary is, as opposed to city for. And so what we did is the acceptance of the plaque by resolution, and again, it kind of formalizes the process when the council formally accepts it. Mr. Lee is in attendance to answer any questions that council may have.
Amy, would you like to have Mike just give us a little Cliff Notes version?
Yeah, no, that'd be great. Yeah.
Cliff Note version. Basically, we have one member of our club who will turn 100 this year, and this is the guy we kind of refer to as Mr.
Now you're going
Rotary.
to talk up for all this back. Or come up here.
We have one member of our club who will turn 100 this year. Somebody we refer to as Mr. Rotary. He's been in the club forever, and he is a resident of Mission. He is a former dentist of Mission that has practiced here for several years, Dr. John Coleman. And in his honor, we'd like to give the plaque to the city. Along with that, we would like to recognize 2 other individuals as well. And they're both no longer living. One is Ruben Sell, and the other one is William Ash, that used to have the Ash Newsware and Johnson. So with those 3 people in mind, the plaque will be in the
Is there any way, like we could make a letter to Mr. Rotary and have it framed or something for him?
Certificate.
A
suitable for
certificate
framing.
suitable for framing. I just think that would be fun for him to have something since it's in his honor.
I agree. We have not, he is not aware of it. In fact, the club is whole is not aware of it right now. It's just primarily the board and a couple of other individuals.
Even if he'd want to come, I mean, 100 years old, that would be super fun.
Well, he's not there yet, so hopefully we'll get this all done.
Oh, when is he doing?
Until April.
So Jennifer, I think that's a really great idea. Arcie and I are talking with Gerry and Laura about, creating some kind of guidelines or objectives around gifting to the city, and kind of how do we accept those, what are the guidelines that they need to fall under, because this is just an amazing opportunity for the Rotary Club to gift the city in honor of their members. A pretty substantial gift, and so going forward in the future, we want to kind of put together guidelines, because we hopefully with the new Johnson Drive update and everything, people get into maybe donating flags, maybe donating trees, maybe donating benches and so maybe we can think about things like that along Johnson Drive. If people want to buy benches and have benches installed and things of like that nature, for bricks. Or bricks, yeah, exactly. Or they want to maybe make a donation to a park and do some like Franklin Park-ish areas to Broadmoor Park or something like that, and we, put it in their name, or there's a plaque or something that's associated.
Yeah,
with
how
it.
do we commemorate these people with a plaque like the plaque?
So I think what we need to do is we need to think about how the city officially does it, like if we're gonna do a certificate or not. So I'd like for us to take some time and think about that through. But I believe in, Mike, the drawings that you rendered, you were gonna put, proposal to put,
This is what we currently are discussing for moving plaques.
and it would be on the,
Well, I think probably up on top,
Okay.
you know, like in the planning area or whatever it's gonna actually go there.
Oh, very nice.
They're not large. That's
And this little thing, you're gonna call that Rotary Square or something?
well, our thought is Rotary Plaza, but
A Rotary Plaza?
we could take Rotary Square and see this kind
well,
of.
it's round,
Yeah, so that's how we thought.
So I call it Square.
right? A technical, just a little technical aspect.
But it'll have its own name, like Rotary, whatever.
Yeah, and that's how.
And then if they just, they just put that in, they're putting that in right now on Johnson Drive, right, on the Facebook page, you guys had on Facebook. page.
Correct.
I just drove by it.
Rotary Plaza is coming together quite nicely.
That was so cool.
Okay, so any other questions for Mike or Gerry? on
Yeah,
this?
which clock did they decide?
We're up, as far as the copy, we thought we kind of leave that to you guys, and you will verify that as what the city administration uses. That's really the two differences on the two
Yeah.
copies, just the copy.
Do we have an opinion? Okay, all right, I guess they didn't want us to. Or,
I guess it's Susie Lasher.
That's we all like it.
Well, I think this is a phenomenal gift.
Oh, it's very wonderful.
It'd just be one getting a big.
That's exactly where I was going, so let's get some, let's not spend a ton of time and like write a novel, but let's get some specific guidelines around, because we don't want to get to the point where we accept one gift and don't accept another, and we follow that, so let's create some kind of rigor around it.
And, yeah, put it in the mission newsletter, so how generous these people are, maybe spark something.
We thought it might be fun for even a program.
Yes.
That'd be
Yes.
great.
How time flies.
And then you can do stories about it and all that.
How time is
That would be really fun.
As time goes by.
There you go. Yeah, because you want to make sure it continues. Right, do I have a recommendation? I recommend it.
I second.
All in agreement? Yay.
So I
Thank you
think we
so
probably
much.
should not put this on consent, so we can kind of just talk about it.
Definitely have somebody come up there and again. But I would like to see us like have a picture with the mayor and that gentleman, you know, and give him since it's in his name.
That's down the road, that's down.
That's down the road.
Relax.
Right. We should probably have a cutting edge type thing.
You just definitely want to be loved on when you're that.
Right. Got it. All right, that concludes all of our action items. Does anybody, oh, thank you, Mike.
Thank you
Good thing
so
that
much.
we-
It is a big deal.
Does anybody have any other items? Okay, so I would like to bring up, Susie, I think you sent an email in the last week or so about the situation with the pit bull. And so
I did comments on it too.
so we do have a vicious animal ordinance.
It's not like breed,
Right, it's just vicious animal, it's not breed specific at all. And so I don't know, Laura, if you want to share.
I can kind of give you an update on, I know, Susie, in your email, you had suggested there might be some potential for these folks to show up next week at the council meeting, and so.
That was my suggestion, that I don't come under the other and just sign them.
Yeah, and so just because you may or may not remember kind of what we had, we thought we'd just pull together a little bit of information, and I can email out specifically the ordinance section on dangerous and vicious animals this evening when we leave here, so you have that. But we do have an ordinance that's been in place for quite some time that allows us to deal with any animal that's determined to be dangerous or vicious, and it's not breed specific. I can tell you in this instance that Susie was contacted about, and several of you may have been as well. So this was a dog that escaped a backyard and attacked another dog. They have been to court. I mean, under this ordinance, we get them into court very quickly. The animal is impounded in this case. The judge ordered that the animal was not ever to return to our city. So there was And that is typically, in the last 3
First time,
years,
that's it.
no, that is the typical situation. We looked at dog bites in the last 3 years. We've had 27 or animal bites. Some of them have actually been cat bites. So the bite reports taken by NEAC, we've had 27 of those. Of the vicious animal, those that have been determined to be vicious, the judge in all but one circumstance has ordered that the animal not be allowed to return to our community. So he's very diligent about, keeping those animals out. This particular, there was some discussion in this case between the pet owner about what was going to happen with the dog, recognizing that couldn't come back into mission. They were just back in court yesterday, and the owner has relinquished complete control and has basically turned the animal over to the shelter. So the judge will be conferring with the vet and animal control today and probably tomorrow, and ultimately making a decision about what happens with that animal. I suspect that animal will likely be euthanized. The owner was ordered to pay all of the vet bills for the individual whose dog was attacked.
What kind of dog was it?
And I think it was a lab. I think it was a lab that was attacked.
It's just really quick, interesting you talk about a lab, because I think when we talked about this with Laura and Gerry, one of the things that the comment was really the only other kind of.
Well, the most serious, according to our animal control officers, the most serious dog bite, you may be more familiar with this, was the black lab in our history. So, and our dog bites do cross all variety of breeds. Many other cities and most of the cities surrounding us do have breed-specific ordinances and legislation.
We spent a long time going through that.
Correct, and I think at least in preliminary conversations with our animal control officers, they feel like our current ordinance gives them great ability to sort of deal with this situation. So.
The lady who sent me an email, the president of the Farm Association, said that they were concerned that if we didn't have something in our ordinance about pit bulls, they would just automatically tell people when they came to pick them up that we would accept pit bulls in mission. I think that's one of the concerns.
That's a great point.
What?
And
I didn't follow that.
okay.
When they came to pick them up, where?
The adoption or the leash place, whatever they call that, leash.
The mission it could become a safe haven for pit bulls.
Did
Because
other
we're the
communities
one
want
community
that?
in Northeast Jackson County that allows them.
So people would be stalking here, moving here to bring
Well,
up
I'm going
pit
to go over
bulls.
the top like that, Pat, but I mean, I will say this, I support the vicious animal ordinance that we have. Really great study is take, 20 pictures of dogs and say pick the pit bull. You can't pick the pit bull
Right.
ever because it's an impossible task.
Exactly.
To pick the pit bull, right? But I do think that she makes an excellent point that we could become this safe haven. That being said, I know people who have pit bulls and they're great dogs, right? So it is a quandary, but.
Well, and I have another question, and this is stupid, but how do you know when they come back in the mission, cats and dogs? I mean, they wander in, people put them in their homes. How do we keep, to say they can't come back to mission?
I'm sure the neighbors are probably really paying attention to that.
Yeah.
I hope,
I had
cats-
2 dogs, and they just happened to have been pit bulls that were across the street from me that got, a little over a year ago, they got sent by the judge, said they couldn't be in this anymore. They didn't put those dogs to sleep. I don't think.
No, and that he doesn't always order that. He always, and they always have the
But
discretion immediately,
I
depending
would,
on the
I
situation.
would know.
Well, since we're not
instantly
having animal licenses anymore, I think it's a little more difficult to keep track of.
Right. I think that
Yeah,
would be
but the
something.
neighbors you would know.
Part of that conversation, if you were to go down that path, we would probably need to look at reinstituting some more organized form of licensing, because right now it's an honor system to register your pets in the database. And so, I couldn't tell you accurately right now what the number of pit bulls that we have.
They
in our
can
community.
put an extra item in the newsletter saying anything about pit bulls.
I don't think we should use
My
it.
2 cents, my 2 cents on this is I personally don't want to discriminate against any one breed, and I would rather not draw any undue attention to this topic. I mean, if these individuals come to the council meeting, we can talk to them and we can address their issue, converse with them that way. I think Steve, you probably need to be prepared for them potentially coming up, they're gonna come up. But
Who are you talking about?
the
Owner of the lab.
owner of the lab that was attacked. Yeah, so I think, I don't see a need to make a big issue, and so I wouldn't publish anything anywhere, and to be frank.
If her lab had been attacked by a German Shepherd, she would still feel the same way, right? I mean,
Yeah. Well, she would be upset, but she probably wouldn't be asking us to create in my opinion, this is strictly opinion, is very unfortunate that there was a very famous individual who was doing very bad and illegal things with pit bulls, and that created a lot of scrutiny around these. Not that they didn't have some scrutiny before, but like Rottweilers used to have a lot of scrutiny and things of that nature. And so I think we should just kind of let this lie. And it appears, and I think this is a wrong assumption, that even though we're one of the only cities that do not have breed-specific legislation or ordinances, that we don't have an influx of pit bulls in our city. But that can be the wrong impression that I get.
And to try and put some kind of a breed-specific thing on there, if you made it pit bulls, then what percentage of the dog has to be pit bull? If it's 20% pit bull, 10%, and how do you prove that? A vet couldn't tell you if it was 50% or 5%.
Well, DNA testing now, has gotten pretty sophisticated, but yes, you're right. I mean,
You have to DNA test the dog.
I think our.
You gotta find his mom.
No specific, breed. There was a lab that came out, you attacked my dog. Got it to the home.
My neighbor's lab attacked my friend and bit him.
It was a lab.
The
So,
number one breed that bites children are Dalmatians. What's the story?
If we look at the breeds that bite cases in the last 3 years, Spaniels, Chihuahuas,
Spaniels.
Dalmatian, Shepherds,
I mean,
Boxers,
they got pit bulls.
Labradors, cats. Yes, right.
that's the bad thing.
My cousin's Sharpei bit me every time.
So anyway,
Well-trained there.
again, I think because there's that possibility that they may attend next week, we just wanted to make sure. So I'll email this out to you.
I just foresee so many more dogs. I mean, we're just having more dogs, and more dogs.
I think everybody has more dogs.
I have 2 and 3. I'm like, one lady wants 4 dogs every day. I'm like,
Well, don't we
Well,
have
some
that?
of
Don't we have
them-
that?
If they have more than
it's 2 and 2.
they need
2
to.
dogs, 2 cats.
That's like the lady with the house fire has 4 cats.
The what?
The lady with the house fire with 4 cats. So again, don't get me wrong, I'm all about, and then there's also people who foster animals. So there's a lady who walks a lot up and down my road, but her dogs are always kind of different, so I'm figuring she's fostering. There's people across the road with dogs bark on fine, No, but any which way. Okay.
Well, thanks for having us.
Thank you, Laura.
Any other items? So I don't know, so I have questions about the planning commission notes, and so I know that that's not on this agenda. So who's I talking to?
Any questions from the other Martin and Alex, something that you?
They were great men.
Council members may have, or-
I don't know if there are other questions that other council members may have. How about this? How about I'll just send it an email, copy all the council members, and then you guys can just respond to them. You guys have listening questions first.
I have a question too about who is maintaining weed abatement west of Lamar on Johnson Drive at the median.
West of
Lamar,
on Johnson Drive.
the median, where there's Smith's house.
Is that where the construction is? And then just, I'm sorry, real quick about, I was telling you, there's crazy people did some crazy stuff on that Johnson Drive, like in the oncoming traffic lane to turn left. And whoa, what's wrong? And this car went to turn, she's like, whoa.
That's what I
Okay,
just got
there,
done
there.
telling John.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very confusing, and some cars are backing up
Yeah.
and taking 3 or 4 stabs at it to get turned. I
From
just
where?
took out the
From
car.
where?
Is it southbound Lamar?
No, this was coming eastbound on Johnson Drive to turn north on Lamar. This lady was just she was over the double yellow line, so I'm like, there's a double yellow line there, but, you know, I don't know how you say this is both ways, and it'll probably just take a while for everybody to get used to, but I don't know if they can like put like road closed signs, and that way kind of close it off better to show where to turn. I don't know. Seems a little confusing.
A couple things. One, they switched it this morning, so
Yeah.
a lot of times it takes everybody just a little bit of time to
Yeah.
kind of get acclimated to what's going on. I know Ben has had some people sitting at Johnson and Lamar kind of watching to make sure that everybody's doing what they need to be doing. And they, you know, if they do something, you know, they'll pull them over, and it's more of an education thing than that. You know, they're not writing tickets, they're just saying, hey, you know, this is kind of how this is set up now, warnings and things like that. So it might take a little while to get it to where everybody's kind of reacclimated to the way it is now. It's a big change, and I think anytime that you change it to that extreme, it gets a little bit confusing. But we'll definitely keep an eye on it and do what we can, you know, cutting the corners and stuff like that. If we can kind of, you know, make those radiuses a little bit better to be able to turn corners and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We'll definitely look into it.
Yeah, that would be cool. That was kind of a challenge the last time too, because people would not stop at the bar; they'd go forward. And I had one of my friend's little girls. She's like, "Why don't you go forward?" And I'm like, "Well, because the stop bar is back here, and the light won't turn if I'm not back here. So I'm all worried about the light turning, as you know." And then I thought, well, I don't want to be up there because if some guy's taking a turn, I'm in his way, like a bus or a truck. I'm in his way, so you need to stay back.
And we've tried to get those stop bars to where people can make those movements. I believe there's some stop here on reds out there to try to get everybody's attention. Hey, you need to stop here. So, but we'll keep an eye on it for sure and adjust it.
Could I ask a quick question?
Oh, sure.
I don't know. The south side of Johnson Drive, are they going to be continuing to do work on that while they're doing that, redoing the lanes over there?
They're kind of doing that work on the sidewalk, off the street, off the through lanes here in for the next month or so, I would say.
Okay.
But today, I think, was probably the most extreme out of any day we've seen as far as how many people were out there actually doing work.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was crazy.
It was kind of a,
A mini city.
yeah, I mean, it looked like somebody stepped on an anvil. But we're going to keep an eye on that too to make sure that they're not jamming up a lot of space and really,
Parking space for retailers.
right.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, anything else? Can I close this and then move on to? Well, I was trying to be done in 15 minutes, but chatty over here.
Let's go.
Work session.